about Zoom. So I don't know, should we record or record to the cloud? Which one is better? Computer or record to cloud? Which one is better? Anyone?
There's no quality difference.
What do you say?
There's no quality difference between recording on system and cloud. It's just storage.
Okay then, no problem, sir. So I'll start my own. Yeah, I think you've started already, Mr.
Yes, I started. Yes.
Okay, over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's class. Today is going to be, as expected, it's going to be a continuation of yesterday. And but first thing first is that we are going to do a recap of what we all learned yesterday. Actually, for those of us that were not here yesterday, I thought that it would be a good time for you to catch up on what we have been able to cover so far. The good thing is that we have not done so much in terms of actual training. What we did yesterday was to do an introduction to what a typical ERP is, and then we were able to understand the basics behind the idea behind the ERP and ERP. So let me just do a recap of that, and then then I will also give room for questions after the recap, more like 3 minutes, which is for you to ask questions so that we can all be able to have proper understanding of what we are teaching.
Sorry to cut you, Mr. Olakule. Please, if you are not the one talking, kindly mute yourself. Please mute yourself, please. Please. Yeah, you can continue, sir.
Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So let's just quickly go through this slide, but I'm going to push this amount. I'm not going to lay too much emphasis like I did last time. Okay. So yesterday we looked at what a typical ERP is. Who can, even though I'm already presenting it, who can recall the full meaning of ERP?
Enterprise resource planning.
Huh?
Enterprise resource planning.
Yeah, enterprise resource planning. Can anyone also recall what we refer to as a module on a typical ERP? Module, we talked about modules yesterday, and I said it can also be a synonym to module would be something else. You can remember what?
I think is that no transaction type? Or...
Yeah, transaction type. Thank you. So these icons you are seeing on the system, they are all transaction type: purchase, CRM, sales, CRM and sales, time and project, finance, manufacturing, inventory, resource, human resource, supply chain. They are all transaction types, and of course, they can be referred to as module. Now, they can be subdivided into other parts, like for purchase, you can also find account payable. For sales, you can also find account receivable there. Time and projects, then finance, you see general ledger, banking transactions, and all. And then manufacturing is manufacturing. Inventory, you can also find something like item usage, item transfer, whatever. So those are transaction types, but in software perspective, we refer to them as modules. Okay, so you should know that. I tried to show you the interconnectedness of all the modules in a typical ERP. And who can remember what I refer to as the mother of all the modules? I said one module is the baseline.
That's general.
Awesome. General ledger is more than 4 modules. After all the transactions you have done, everything would come to general ledger. And I refer to you that each transaction you post on the software has a double entry. The double entry, the journal entries that we learn in school, right? The debit and credit XYZ, right? They are all done automatically by typical software. Okay. So if you raise an invoice, I told you that there are entries that is passed. If you raise a customer dispute, there are entries that is passed and not. So all of those entries enter into. Please kindly mute your mic. All of these entries enter into general ledger. Okay. So that's why general ledger is the mother of all the entries. Then we took them one after the other. First, we looked at account receivable. We say account receivable. Under account receivable, you can create invoice, you can create receipt, you can create refund. Okay. However, account receivable is linked to bank, and we say it's at the point of customer receipt that account receivable is linked to bank. Because when you raise the receipt, what happens? You debit the bank and then you credit the account receivable, and that's your customer. Okay. And then we say that account receivable is also linked to order entry. Because first thing first is that you raise an order. We used Dreamia as an example yesterday, how you first raise an order. I mean, when you go on their site and then you pick an item you want to buy, you go to your checkout list or something like that. As soon as you do that, that creates an order on their own database, on their own software, creates an order automatically. Okay. And when they deliver it to you, so that order that it creates is what we call sales order. And then when that happens, they will request for payment option, you say pay on delivery, and then they deliver it to you. That delivery is called shipment. So you can either use the word shipment or delivery. So they ship it to you or they deliver it. Okay. Now when they do that, it's at the point when you receive it that they recognize the item has been sold, and that's when they will now raise invoice. So that invoice is raised on account receivable. So that's how they link. Then because it was an item that you purchased, you have to pick that item from the inventory. So inventory links to order entry links to account receivable, and all of them link down to general ledger. Okay. And then we also looked at account payable, and there was something significant I told you yesterday. I told you that an account payable is an inverse. The transaction on account payable is an inverse of what happens on account receivable. What that refers is that any transaction you are doing on account receivable, you are touching the customer. But any transaction you do on account payable, you are touching the vendor. And I told you that you're touching the vendor, right? And I told you that on accounts payable, I emphasized on how the invoice you will create on account payable is not your invoice. It must be the invoice of your vendor. So one thing I also mentioned to you yesterday is that your customer invoices can be unique in terms of invoice numbering. They can be unique. So you can have the code like IMV 001, IMV 002, 003, 004, 005. But that should not happen under account payable. If I audit your if I come to your office and then I audit your software and I realize that your account payable invoices so your vendor invoices are serialized in a very organized, proper manner, I will assume that you are fraudulent, okay? Because I expect that your vendor's invoice number is the invoice number that you should replicate on your system. So any software that is not doing that is not following best practice. Okay, and then also there's payments. When you use an invoice, of course, you have to pay the vendor automatically. So bank also links to account payable at the point of raising a payment. Banks is linked to it. And then we also see that purchase order is linked to account payable, because every invoice is raised on every invoice is raised on account payable. But before you raise that invoice, you must have received the product first before you raise the invoice. And I've said, where is the product coming from? The product is coming from inventory. So inventory is linked to account is linked to purchase order, then purchase order is linked to account payable. Okay. Please let me skip payroll. I mentioned this yesterday, how that payroll deals with your staff. It has to do with from the point of staff, equipment, to training, to staff salary, to appraisal, and what have you. And at the point when you are paying staff salary, right, you know you have to credit the bank and then debit what's that called now? Salaries and wages. Although that's not the core accounting double entry that should happen. The first thing that you should do is to make allowance for salary. So that means that maybe on the 20th, sometimes on the 20th of the month, the HR will raise a journal being approved by maybe the director or whoever is approving. The journal entry is going to be as thus. It's going to be debiting salaries and wages, which is the debit account, and then it's going to credit salary payable. So it's recognizing that salary has been allowed for that month, right? And so when the actual payment is now done, it's now going to credit the bank and then debit that salary payable account. So that will move that off. Okay. So that's why it's linked to bank. Manufacturing. Of course, what I first mentioned was that before you manufacture, you have to buy. Okay. So look at the link and let me just bring everything. So before you manufacture, you have to buy. So you have to place a purchase order. When you raise that purchase order, you create the invoice and then you pay the vendor. So they will supply you the raw material, right? So that's the inventory. So they supply you the inventory. Now, when they supply you the inventory, that's inventory, that's the raw material that you then use to create your bill of material, or you call it work order. Okay. Then you get your finished. Then you do the production and then you get your finished. So that's how interconnected manufacturing is. However, at the end of the day, when you sell, what else would happen? I mean, at the end of the day, when you produce finished goods, what else will happen? You would sell that finished goods. So that's where order entry comes in, because you have to sell. And then, I mentioned to you that at the order entry, you first get the sales order, then you deliver to your customer. So that's where the entry comes in. Then after delivering to your customer, you wait. So you see that manufacturing even almost cut across all of the modules on the system, right? Then you have fixed assets. Fixed assets, you can run acquisition, depreciation, impairment, and disposal. However, before you can consider having a fixed asset, you must have purchased that fixed asset, right? So account payable comes into play, because you are going to talk to your vendor and then you raise an invoice and make payment. And if you make payment, you will be talking to the bank, because there's an element of bank transaction there, and that's from the payment. Okay, so bank is fixed asset is linked to account payable. Account payable is linked to bank. And then when you do asset disposal will mean at the end of the day, when you have fully depreciated your asset, or maybe sometimes you have not fully depreciated, you just need to let go of that asset. You are going to actually raise an invoice to the customer, that the person who is going to buy it. So asset is also linked to account receivable. Okay, so that's the interconnectedness of all the modules on the physical software, right? I'm going to give you an assignment for today, and you should take note of that now. The assignment I'm going to give you is that I will do a screenshot of this of let me just give you something. We've started, so snip into. I'm going to snip or screenshot what you guys refer to it as. I'm going to screenshot this presentation. I'll send it to the group. What you would do for me is that to every of those modules, you already see the yellow icons there, right? The yellow icons shows the function, it shows the transactions in that module. You will tell me the double entry for each of those modules. You will tell me the double entry that's being passed for each of the modules. So what this means is that for now we are looking at purchase transaction cycle. What it means that for inventory, you have shipments. Let me just give you a now. For inventory, you have shipments, you have receipts, you have internal usage. Okay, don't bother about inventory. Don't bother about that inventory module. Sorry. Don't bother about inventory module. But for purchase order, you have to tell me the double entry that will be passed on purchase order. I mean on receipt. So under purchase order receipt, what's the double entry that will pass? Let me give you a logic. The product is coming from your vendor. Okay, you have made an order and your vendor is delivering it to you. So sure, so you are receiving it. So it means you are receiving to stock. You are receiving to inventory. Okay, and then when you receive to inventory, what you should expect that it should affect the vendor's account, and the vendor's account is the payable account. So put it together, you should be able to get the double entry. For account payable, when you raise invoices, what is the entry that goes on there? You are bringing the products. How is it going to work now? For invoices, for receipts, when you raise a receipt, okay, let me tell you a logic. Okay, I need to explain this. I think this is the first time to explain this. Now, I should have done this since yesterday. I'm going to do it now. I hope you guys are able to understand. Does anybody understand what we refer to as a suspense account? Please, if you understand what we refer to as suspense, if you know what a suspense account is, please kindly type it on the chat. What a suspense account is. What's a suspense account? Anyone knows what a suspense account is? Okay, maybe I should just explain. It is used to correct errors made. Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. Good. So there are times when you want to make a correction in your trial balance. It's a temporary account where correction relating to errors are awesome. Suspense account is a temporary account used to correct errors. Awesome. Good. So you guys know what I'm about to talk about. So now that suspense account, in software perspective, you use it to connect two process together. Invoice is a process, receipt is a process. Now, notice my scenario. I say when you talk to a vendor, you raise an order. Now, an order is a memorandum document. It doesn't have any double entry. So if it's a sales order, it's memorandum, no double entry, no entry is passed. If it's a purchase order, it's memorandum, no entry is passed. But receipt has an entry. Okay. And what is the normal? Now, when I say receipt, now I mean when you are receiving the product, that's what you refer to as the goods received voucher or goods received notes, GRN. Okay, now when you receive that product, now I said it goes into inventory. By default, the next thing that should happen is that the value of that product should affect the vendor's account, and that's the credit. So it debits the inventory, and then it's expected to credit the vendor. But because there is a link between receipt and invoice, what a normal system would do without you knowing, now people like me go know, but without you knowing, what is a normal system would do is that you see at that receipt leg, it will debit inventory, sitting pretty in inventory, right? But it will not credit a suspense account, holding it to say until you get an invoice, because it's expecting that it's actually an invoice that hits the vendor's account. And the same thing with the customer. It's an invoice that hits the customer's account. If you don't get an invoice, the customer's account should not be debited. So if you don't get an invoice, the vendor's account is not going to be credited. Okay. So, but for an accountant, normally, as soon as you receive a product now, you should know that that's a credit against the account. So you're owing that vendor automatically. We understand. That's from your own accounting perspective. But on the software, because we linked receipt together with invoice, we now created a suspense account between receipt and invoice. Now, I wish I have please give me a minute, a whiteboard. Let me see. I don't know how to use whiteboard. No, okay, let me use Word instead. Yes, let me use Word instead. Let me use the Word document to explain what I'm trying to say. I'm not supposed to take forever on this call. Now try not to do that. Okay, I think I can see the whiteboard here. I need to work. So can you see my screen now? Can you see a blank screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to say that for a receipt, for a product, an item receipt, or a GL, or you call it GLM, that's what you see as a receipt on the system. The double entry that should happen is that it should debit inventory. So let's say we are using 500,000 naira as an example, as the value of the product. Or should I say value or cost? Product cost. We have 500,000 naira, okay? Now that's the value, that's the cost. So what it should do by default is that it should let me use your T. So it should debit inventory here, and then credit account payable. Account payable in this regard would be account payable. Account payable in this regard would be a vendor. Correct? Is this double entry correct? Let's start from there. Is this double entry correct? Please indicate if double entry is correct. If you are sure it's correct, if you know it's correct. When you receive a product, from a vendor, what should be the double entry that should be passed? Although yes, some of you will refer to inventory as purchase. Yeah. Some of you refer to inventory as purchase, but it's inventory. Okay. So, however, this is not correct. It's going to be funny to say, but this is not, it's correct too, but it's not system-wise, software-wise. This is not the transaction that should happen at the point of receipt. Now, why I'm saying this is, I think I should just share my entire screen instead. I think I should just share my entire screen instead. Share all windows. Can you see the white board? My word.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So okay. Now in this presentation, I'm trying to say that receiving a product for an accountant normally is just one process. But for a software, a normal software, it's not just one process. It's two processes. And I said the first process is that you receive this account receivable. I'm referring to account payable. So I'm saying that the first process is to receive before you raise an invoice. So you do an order, you receive, then you raise an invoice. That's to say procurement process. You can please jot this down. Procurement process. So the first thing is to raise purchase order. Raise purchase order. 2 is to raising purchase order means you talk to the customer, guy, what's up? I want to buy XYZ, and the guy is like, oh, okay, this is the amount, 500,000 naira, and you're like, okay, good. Please deliver it. I will pay when you deliver, right? And then guy said, okay, so the guy delivers it. So the delivery is the GLV, or you call it GLN, but on my software we call it okay. So, and then the third process is now that you raise a supplier invoice. Okay. Now this purchase order has no, I say it has no double entry. No double entry. Okay. This has no double entry. However, this receipt, that's this GLV and the supply invoice, they're supposed to have a double entry, and the double entry is to debit the inventory, or in your case, you refer to as purchase, and to credit the account payable. That's supposed to be the normal between GLV and invoice. That's supposed to be the normal double entry that should occur. Nothing more, nothing less. But I'm saying that in software perspective, that's not going to be the only double entry that will occur. So in software perspective, let me show you what will occur. What will occur in software perspective is that under the invoice, under the GLV, which is receipts now. This guy, you would have debit. You have debit inventory. So it's a debit inventory. And then it will credit suspense. So it's debiting this inventory with 500,000 naira. It's crediting suspense account with 500,000 naira. Now, on your trial balance, for sure, you know that inventory now has 500,000 naira worth of something there, but suspense account is still having 500,000 naira. In real life, at every point in time, suspense account should be 0. At every point in time, a suspense account should be 0. Okay, so but here the suspense account is now having 500,000 naira. So there needs to be a net off, and the net off will come at the point of the invoice. So it's now when you raise the supply invoice, you will now debit that suspense and then credit account payable. And that's the vendor. So this is how softwares work behind the scene. You know, that this is how softwares work because of the way they are connected to each other. Sometimes you can have like 2 processes or 3 processes, but at the end, that process is supposed to only post a double entry. That is one debiting inventory for this scenario, and then crediting account payable. But because we are using two processes, suspense account is now used to hold the second leg at the point of GRV and then release it for invoice. Yeah, so that's how that works. Yes, in real life, the suspense account should be 0. So it means that at this point, 50,000 here, 500,000 here, yeah, we'll cut 500,000 here. So debit credit should give you 0 eventually, because it should get to 0. So that's how it works. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be very tedious for me, but what I want you to do on your part, I'm going to give you this assignment that to every process, what is the double entry that will happen in every process? So you will take purchase order, you will take account payable and account receivable as case study. So you will study it and tell me what double entry should be passed in each of the process. If you get confused, my what's it called now? My DM is a click away. Permit me, sometimes I can delay in responding because I have other projects, but be rest assured that I will respond to you eventually, because I know the response I will give to one person, I will just copy and paste it and give to you. Okay, so that's that's the assignment that you're going to have to gone through for the week, for this week. If there's anything else, I'm going to add, but for now, let's make do of what we have. Okay, so let's go back to our what's it called now? Our recap.
I think someone has.
Okay, yes, please ask.
Concerning the assignment, the double entry we are supposed to do, is it based on like real life situation or based on system? Like
It's based on the analogy I just gave you.
okay, so we are doing it based on the suspense account first.
Yes, based on the social accounts concept, yes. You can go back to this video over and over again to understand what I just explained. Or what I will also do is that I will just take all of them one after the other. So I've just explained that of receipt and invoice. Okay. For the fund, where am I? I was in payable, right? So I've just done for GRV and invoice. So I've told you how when you raise a GRV, that's a receipt, it will debit the inventory and then it will credit the suspense account. But when you now raise this invoice, it will debit that suspense account and credit the account payable. Now raising a payment is straightforward. It's real life scenario. Raising a payment, it will automatically debit the account payable and credits the bank because it's taking away funds from the bank. So the reason why this is happening is because payment is not linking to another process. It's standing on its own. It is receipt and invoice that are linking to each other, but payment is standing on its own. Okay, so that's why payment doesn't have that suspense account issue. Okay, I told you to look away from inventory. Don't bother about this inventory process. Bank also, you don't have to bother about bank because bank has been treated under payment. Okay, but bank, when you want to treat bank, yeah, for account payable, you treat bank just on its own, treat it. Account payable. So I said, at what point do you need bank in this regard? Is payments now. And if you have treated, okay, I think it's if you have treated payment, it means you are crediting bank and debiting account payable. So these payments would sort for bank. So what you are treating here on account payable side is GRV, that is receipt here, and then invoice, then payment. Okay, when you do that, for account receivable, the same logic, trust me, the same logic. The logic is that sales order here, no, shipment here, this shipment is called delivery. It's the same thing called receipt on the payable side, right? When you ship your product to your customer, that's when you deliver your product to your customer. What will happen here is that there will be some entries that will happen. You have to have a suspense account. When you take out the product from your store, right, you credit your store. Okay, you credit your store. When you credit your store, you will debit that suspense account. Imagine I'm giving you an assignment and I'm saying, right? And then you have to now raise an invoice when you have given that product to your customer. When you raise that invoice, what happens? You would then credit that suspense and now debit your account receivable. That's your customer. You debit that account. Okay. Now, when you do that, at the point of receipt is now also straightforward, just like payments was straightforward for payable. You would debit your bank because money is entering into your bank, and then you would credit the account receivable, because account receivable is a debit account. So crediting this means you are taking money away from it. I mean, you are netting off that account, that amount basically. And then a refund. So you have to do for refund also. Refund is an inverse of receipt. So I think that should be a logic for you. You don't have to create suspense for refund. So what you're creating suspense for is between shipment, or that's delivery, and invoice. That's the major thing you're creating suspense for. Okay, does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Does that help? Does that help in any way? I think you should do. Okay, so let's move on. So I've touched on accounts receivable, I've touched on account payable. Touched on so just do accounts for the assignment, just do accounts receivable and account payable alone. Don't bother about manufacturing. This is massive, it's huge. It took me about 3 years to understand it. So I don't expect you to understand it. So don't bother about manufacturing. It's too complex. And yes, don't bother about fixed assets. It's also a little complex. So don't bother about it. Just understand the interconnectedness of experience. Okay. So, and yesterday we also looked at the different accounting products in the market, and I showed you, in my explanation, I tried to make you see that there is always a Sage product for every class of business. So for entry level, we have this Sage accounting that we are looking at now. And Sage accounting can also work perfectly for a small scale business. And however, we have other products like QuickBook, sitting pretty at the entry level, what's it called now, space. We have FreshBook, we have Mint, we have Cashew. I think we also have Xero. Xero is standing for the small scale and medium scale enterprises. We have Travas, and then we have Microsoft Dynamics. Those are pretty good for both small scale, medium scale, and large scale enterprises. Now, the Sage product that is between this space, they are actually Sage Evolution, Sage 200, Sage 300. Yeah, those 3 products, they can fit in for both small businesses, medium scale, and large scale. Okay, and then we also have SAP Business also doing well for businesses like for large scale businesses. And if you go up, you would see the conglomerate. So that's where you find SAP, Business Central. You find Oracle, and then we have Sage X3 also playing in that space. Then you have Workday, you have Info, and a couple of other software. So I shared this earlier with you, and I explained to you how the core function of now. Okay, I'll explain that later. I explained the core function of Sage accounting with you. I told you how it helps with inventory valuation, helps you to keep track of your inventory per department, and you also can do per category, helps you to collaborate and share, so you can have as many staff as possible using the software at the same time, even when they are having different functions on the software. You can also do what we call user authorization. That means that if Kunle team is only employed to keep track of customer transactions, right? I will only see customer transactions on the system. If Chibola was only employed to keep track of our inventory and suppliers, she would only see inventory and suppliers on the system. So you can collaborate, even though you are working on different modules. That's transaction types. Okay, and it's really it's super easy to understand. I mean, you see how you guys were able to set up your account yesterday without anybody coming to actually install something on your system and all sorts. So that's how super easy you can work with it, and the interface is also smooth and nice. Now you can have access to the software anywhere in the world as long as it is installed on, it is connected to your system, your Chrome. Okay. Although there's another way I would have, if I were with you physically, even one of our physical meetings, I would do a shortcut on it on your phone, so that you can, at the click of the button, always have access to it. It is safe and secure because it has end-to-end security metrics, so you don't have to bother about intruders. Okay, so generally, just like what I've shown you earlier, there is a general ledger accounting module. You are able to create sales, purchases, and then view cash flows, inventory, reporting at a breeze actually. You can create quotes and invoices. You can create and manage products, and then also services to customers. You can, one thing I mentioned yesterday is that you can even give access to your customer to see your balances on your system. You can receive payments from customers and then also make payments to vendors, and then you can customize reports, basically. Right, so this is where we ended yesterday's class. So I'll let you give room for about 1 or 2 questions from yesterday's class. Then we move to today's class. So this class is supposed to take our time because we are just setting up what we created yesterday. Do you have any question? Okay, if there is no question, I would like to move on. Okay. Let me just read this. I'm trying to share my screen again. So everyone, please log into your account. Everyone, please log into your account. Please log into your account. If you did the right thing from yesterday, what you are seeing on my screen should be what you should see on your screen. Maybe if you don't go do past your teacher. If you don't do pass your teacher, you're just supposed to see what I'm saying right Please indicate if you've logged onto your account. If I see 5 people indicating that they've logged into their account, we would continue. I just need like 5. Let's do 5 or 10. Let's do 10. 10. Let's do 10 because we are almost 50 here. Okay, 1, 2, 2. Just have the second person. Yeah, the third person now. Done, Salako. Thank you. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we have 4 more to go before we start. 6, 6, 6 going to blessing the 6, 7, 8, 9, going to Priscilla, 9 going to Priscilla, and then we have, where is the 10th person? Now let's continue. 10. Thank you so much, Blessing. Okay, GTL Challenge Ibadan. Please change this your name. I need to link your name to. Is when you log into whenever you log into Zoom, please change your name to your actual name. As I've told you, the essence for me to connecting with you personally on WhatsApp so that I can link your name to what you have on the chat platform, because I'm copying the chat platform to save. We are trying to keep track of your performance. Let me emphasize why we are doing that. We are going to be issuing certificates to 2 to 3 of you who would have access to writing a certification exam on the Sage University platform. And that certificate is going to be free. The certificate we will issue to you would be free, and then we'll give you access to that platform. But for those of you, for the guests of you that also would be interested in having such certificates from both Scale Up NG and Sage University, you would have to pay an amount. I mentioned that we're supposed to agree on that amount. Myself and Ola, I don't know why I forgot to have that conversation with him. But I assure you that I think after this call tonight, we would post the cost of that certificate on the WhatsApp platform. Okay, but we are keeping track of your performance, and then for the top 2 guys, we are going to issue free certification to you, and then we will also make sure that we follow you through writing the exam on Sage University platform, and then when you get the 75% score, which through our guidance you should be able to get that easily. It should be something you can tender as a credit score, in any company or maybe any institution where you want to write maybe a diploma or something. Okay, let's go. So you are here. Here this part is not the developers, the implementers interface. We actually normally do not show this to clients because if they know this, they would know too much and they would not want to pay us for our services, right? So we don't show this to end users or to clients, but you are privileged to having this access now. So what we're trying to do is to set up our company. Now, the word company here means your company. It means that Nisky something shoe sales that you have on IG or that you have on your WhatsApp business, or Daily Smile Products Nigerian PLC, right? That's your company. We want to assume that you, from now henceforth, want to keep track of how you purchase your products from your supplier, and then how you want to be selling it to your customer. You want to be keeping track of your customer transaction on the system and whatever. Okay, so that company, that's your dream company, that company that that's your baby right now, that you are starting up, right, is the company we are referring to here. So we want to set it up, we want to set all the nitty-gritty up so that whenever you raise any transaction, it will automatically work. You automatically see your trial balance, see your income statement, and what have you. So let's move on. So click on next on your system. Click on next. Okay, so when you click on this, you should see something like this. So my own company name is Olakunle and Co. All right. Your company should, your screen should also show you this. So what you want to do next is to include your postal address. So your postal address will probably mean your office address.
Sorry, should we do that now?
Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, we're working together. Okay. In creating this, the first line, make it the street address. The second line, make it more like the landmark. And then the third, I think you should make it like the state. And then the last one, make it the country, Nigeria. So copy the same thing from your postal address. Copy it, copy and paste to, or you can just retype if you wanna. Copy and paste to your physical address. This address you are inputting will be showing on all your documents. Documents like customer invoice, vendor. Okay, we did show on vendor invoice. I'm not sure, but it will show on customer invoice. Okay, so do that. Then scroll down. It will ask a question. It says, do you want to add your booking details to, your banking details to your invoices and codes? Enter the details here. So, when you raise an invoice to a customer, you want to sell a product. So let's say you are selling 2 Brazilian air for 150,000 naira each. And then you want to say, Kuliansin, I sent you this stuff, give it to your wife, let your wife be using it. And that's easy for Insta. Okay. And then I have to pay. Instead of you sending your account details afterwards, you can just create that account details here on this interface. So I say, sorry, I don't know my account, my company account. This is offline. Let me use my personal account. So you say account name. So every time you send this invoice out, it will carry that details. Answer Olakunle, account number. Account number 0163846317. And then bank. I hope you are doing the same thing. Please, that account number is not for free. You can copy it and just send one small change. And show love. You can show me love. I really do appreciate. Okay, so when you are done, please, if you are done with this interface, drop an emoji. Because you were a smiley. Sorry, I'm not a gent. Drop an emoji to show that you have done this. Can that happen here? Or just drop a chat to say you have done that. Yeah, you can drop an emoji. Okay, good. Thank you so much. I've seen that. So let's move on. So click on next. Your next will be, I suppose to be branding. Right, that's branding. So you choose a logo. Because on your invoice will always carry your logo, right? So you will choose a logo for your company. I don't know if you have a logo yet. If you don't have, you might just want to choose a picture just to simulate. So I'll choose my logo. I have a logo. You can just, if you're using your phone, you can see browse. It take you to your photo gallery. So for me, that said your logo has been successfully uploaded. Thank you. Now look at what it's telling me, saying invoices and statements logo position. On what position do I want that logo to stay? Should it be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? I always like it to be on the left-hand side. Okay, so it's already indicating, you see this green stuff here, it's already indicating to me where that logo is going to stay. Okay, then it's now saying select the layout to use for your invoice and statement. So what type of layout? So we have 3 types of layouts. You have a classic layout, you have modern layouts, you have a plain layout. So just look at it and look at the one you think is best. I am choosing plain, so you can review it. See, I'm trying to review it. So this is like a sample. Okay, your logo is going to be where this page is or something. Okay, so I am doing plain layout because I am plain, I'm not however, you can customize your invoice, okay, by using this additional what's it called now, software. Should I say software or module now? Module is the what's it called now? Just remember the name. That's the name I've forgotten now. If you click on this link, you can be able to download that software. Unfortunately, we are not doing that trading here right now, so you might have to skip that. But yes, you can design. If you don't like any of these designs you are seeing here, you can design your own invoice using that module. We're not doing that now. I want me to teach you that separately. You will pay me like 150K or something. Trust me. Okay, so this is the customer zone. Yes, this is the customer zone. So let's use this together. Saying enable your customer zone. Customer zone, as I explained this to you earlier, that you can give access to your customer to even view your their transaction on your system, right? I mentioned that earlier. So you can enable customer zone to allow your customer to view invoices and quotes as well as their account history online. Okay, so if you enable it, what do you want the customer to see? Is it just invoices and quotes only, or you want the customer to see invoices and account history? So here you say your customer will be able to view your invoices and quotes online, putting their invoices and quotes. Your customer will also be able to check their account history. Trust me, if you have this kind of software, your customer will love you. Best believe they will buy all your products and come back for more. Okay, so you click on next. If you have done that, click on next. VAT. So because their products, generally all of the products are expected to be VAT inclusive. However, we have some products that are VAT exclusive. Products like agro products, and then products used in the hospitals are not. They are all not VATable. Okay. So this time is actually, do you charge your customer VAT? Yes, by default you charge your customer VAT. If you have your VAT number, you would include it here. I can't remember mine now, but let me just put nonsense. So, okay. But you might decide to leave it blank anyways. And if you have it later, you can include it. Okay, then saying invoice setting. When adding quantity to your invoice line, how many decimal do you want to display? Okay. As I've said, this is the setup part. All of the things that happens on your transactions when you begin to run, this is where you set them up. So this one is asking you the quantity. Yes, Olamide, you raised up your hand. Do you want to say something?
Yes, so I think I didn't get that VAT number. Where did you get the VAT number?
You didn't see VAT number. Go up. Where are you? Are you on number 3 or number 2?
I am currently on the VAT setting, the VAT number. So I don't know where you got the one time. So I should just put any number.
Oh, me. I just type nonsense. So
Okay, so we can put any number.
you can, if you say number, it's not important. But
Okay.
you can also leave in blank. If you don't have the VAT, I actually have a VAT number, but I'm going to input that later. But you can leave it blank if you want to. Someone else raised the who is the other person that raised?
I'm the one. This is Rachel. Please, can you like go through step 2 again? My network did.
I guess.
unable.
Oh wow! I see that, Rachel. I'll go back to step 2.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, can I do that? Let me see if I go back. Okay, I'll just quickly breeze through step 2. There's nothing too much here in step 2. You just want to step 2 has 2 process. Okay, so the first part of step 2 is that you would include your logo. So you click on this choose file to choose the logo on your system or on your phone. If you click on that browser, you will still be able to choose a logo on your picture gallery or photo gallery. Okay, then it will ask you where do you want the logo to be on your invoice? See on the right hand side or on the left hand side, the top left. Okay, then the stage gives you 3 formats of invoice by default. So we have classic, modern, and plain, and you can check them out here. This is classic. Okay, this is modern. Then if you click on them, it will bring it out for you. This is plain. So choose whichever one you want. I said I use plain because I'm a plain guy. I'm in the first trouble. Then I said earlier also that you can be able to customize your own design by downloading an add-on module. This is the link to downloading that add-on module. But I said earlier that unfortunately, I will not be able to train you on how to do that. Once you learn that, that's reporting that's report designing on its own. It's more like your Microsoft Power BI, your Tableau for data analyst guys, and more like Crystal reports for software consultants like myself. So I will not be able to do that because it's complex. Okay, so let's move on. Then this is your customer zone. As I explained to you, mentioned to you earlier, I said that you can give access to your customers to view their transactions on your system. So you can either give them access to only view their invoices and quote alone, or view invoice and account history on the system. I would rather leave it to account history and then you move on. So that's how to do that, Rachel. The third function in this company settings is VAT. So it will ask you, do you charge VAT? So you would indicate whether yes, you charge VAT or no, you don't charge VAT. Only agro businesses don't charge VAT, and also I think hospitality charges VAT, but clinics don't charge VAT. Hospitality will mean, when I say hospitality, I'm referring to hotels and also, but medical institutes, whatever they are called, charge VAT. Okay, so the system is also asking you to say, when you input a quantity on an invoice, do you want it to carry decimal number? If it's yes, how many zeros do you want to find on your decimal number? Zero means no decimal number. 1 means, say, I want to sell, let's say I want to sell 2 Brazilian nets. If I click on 2, it does 2.0. Okay. I mean, if I click on 1, so it's 2.0. But if I click on 2, it will do 2.00. Okay. But let me choose 2.00 for some of you that are not selling Brazilian air. but are selling products that are liquid in nature and that can have decimals and not only. So take for example, people that are selling liquid soap, people that are selling paints and all. So they have it in decimal. Okay, great. So something else you need to consider, your year end. When is your next year end? Is it December 31st? Is it June 31st? Is June 31st or 30th? 31st. Okay. So June 31st. Okay, so you will choose which date is your year end, because different folks have different year end. For my club, I think it's March. That's the May. That's the year end. Okay, but by convention is the 31st of December of each year. So this retention period will mean for how long do you want to keep your financial record on the system? Okay, some companies can go as far as 10 years actually. But remember, if you are going to that extent, it refers that your database size will become very cumbersome. Okay, and some will do 5 years. What this will mean is that after 5 years, the system will automatically delete all your historical transactions from the beginning of your transaction till the next 5 years. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm trying to say that if we start transactions on this software this year, 2023, right? And then let's say we chose 3 years, okay, as a retention period. Then we input information in 2023, 2024. So by 2025, the system will automatically delete 2023. Now, deletion doesn't mean that your trial balance will not still be there. You know that when you do your end of year, your income statements will net off and then go to retainage account. And then your balance sheet will also move to the next year. Okay, so that one follows, but the detailed transaction will not follow. They will be deleted automatically. So you have to consider this retention period very carefully. Then you click on finish, because that's the end. Okay, it's asking you a question saying reason for choosing 5 years as retention period. Just say for record purposes. Just put something there for record. Then you click on finish. Please let me know if you are done with these 3 simple steps. Just check up on the chat box if you are done with the 3 steps. Oh, okay, thank you. So ACIT, okay, Sunday Elijah, you asked how I got to VAT. I hope going back earlier was able to help you to answer that question. Yes, Priscilla, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask that after supplying all this information, is it possible that at a later time we can
trust me, yes. I'm about to show you that later time. I'm about to show you where to go to now after setting up what we've just done. Okay. Is that fine, Priscilla?
Yes, thank you.
So yes, so that setup we've just done is not even all. And yes, just as Priscilla has rightly asked, you can always go back to edit some of these settings and then make it fit for what you are currently experiencing. And how do you do that? You come to company. Okay, you come to company on the interface. You click on change company settings. So we click on it. When you click on it, it should take you to, now this even now gives you room to do more things. Okay, so this is where we input our transaction, our detail earlier, but you see how that it's giving you more box to fill, like you can put your fax, your phone number, your contact name. I think you should, okay, we already have our telephone, so don't bother. Then your email is the email you created the account with. Okay, now notice something. It's asking you to use this email for communication. So click on yes. Use that email for communication. So, okay, one thing I did also mention is that when you raise an invoice, I think I mentioned, when you raise an invoice, you can automatically send that invoice to your customer from this software. You can automatically send that invoice to your customer's email. As long as you have that customer's email registered on your system from this software. We'll be looking at that next week. Okay. So click on this, check this box to use that email address for communication, or you want to use the default server email. I don't think you want to use that default server email from Sage. Don't use it. Use your own email address so as you make it look more authentic, right? More unique. Okay. However, you can have another email. So take, for instance, if you are the MD of the company and then there is another staff who is raising these transactions and you want to be in copy of all the invoices that your customer, that your staff is sending to all your customers. So you can input your own email address so that the system will CC you. You know what CC means? To copy you. I'm doing another client. We are going to do some test running when we raise transaction from next week, so that you will see how Miracle the entire Jesus. Okay. Then you see, I checked on the always CC this email. That's always copy that email. Okay. That's that. Moving on. Click on additional company information. So this is where you input your company tax number, your registration.
I don't know if you can, come a little bit back. Come again.
You want me to do what? Oh, you want me to talk to this?
Yes, you can do it.
Okay, yeah, I can. And say, you are my boss. Okay, so I go back to company details.
How did you get to this company details?
Okay, how I go to company details. So we were here earlier. We were at the dashboard. Now we're here. Oh, yeah. When everybody opened the system, you were here. This way. Good now. Yeah, this is what you saw when you logged on. I mean, when you were done with the settings. So I said, going back to the company settings, you click on company, then click on change company settings. Okay. Did you get that?
Yeah, thank you.
Great. So you come to company details. So we fill this information. I mentioned earlier that you should use your default email for communication. Then you should uncheck this use mail service at blah 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 for address as communication. Then input another email address so that to every document you send out, you are copied in every transaction. Okay. Come. I say you should check on this. Always see this email address. Now notice that the stuff I did earlier went off, right? That was because I did not save. That's why it went off earlier when I left this interface to another interface. Okay, but now that I've saved, I can always move around. So come to additional company information. If you want to input your tax number, registration name, registration number, if they're important, and that's your CAC document details, your tax office, And then your entry type, what are you? Are you a limited liability company, a partnership company, a public limited liability company, a sole trader, or you are a trusteeship? I mean, like your business is trusteeship in nature. I hope you understand that these are the different types of business you have. So- and then you can input your city, your province, your country. I'm not doing that now because I'm tired. I want to move on. You can always do that later on. Customer zone, we've set this up earlier. You can decide to set it up again. Just review it again and change whatever you want to change. General settings, which is something I'm interested in. Financial year, we had already done this earlier, so we chose the year end, so it is 2023 to 2022. So you see, because I told the system earlier that I'm using 3 years as my retention, so it already created a previous year for me, 2022, automatically. However, please calm down. Notice something here. You see lockdown date. Now, what a lockdown date will do for you is when you are done with a particular transaction, like you are done with with a particular year, you don't finish everything don't fine, everything don't set. Your trial balance don't balance and all sorts, yeah? And you don't want anybody in this entire world to post anything into that year. So you can lock down that year, all right? Although you can also do it month by month. So if I lock down 2020, if I lock down December 31st, 2020, it means I've locked down all the transactions from December down to this period. Okay. However, let's say if I'm also done with January 2023, I can lock down, I can choose that 2023. So what did you say? Lock processing date. Setting this lock processing date will prevent transaction with an earlier date from being entered or changed. You see what I'm saying? The lock processing date you have entered is in the current fiscal year. Are you sure you want to continue? I say yes, I'm sure. I know them. Okay, so that's how to lock down a date, so that people will not be able to put into that date and the year and the period before. Okay, then you remember to always save at every interface you are in. So that's that. Then we go to rounding. We've touched a little on rounding earlier. You can set account to round customer document value. To do this, choose the type of rounding, blah, blah, and all sorts. So what this trying to say, what I tried to explain to you earlier, that some of the documents that you raised, right, your figures, the one we did earlier was the item, okay? Because this one is showing the amount, the figures, the amount. So if I have 500,000, what should they do? Should they round up? Should they round down? Should they do normal rounding? I want to do normal rounding. The nearest of what? Of I bet just 2 decimals. Okay. Should be round down. No, I'm just doing normal rounding and should be 2 decimals. So when you're doing your rounding, if you just do the approximation to just 2 decimals. Okay, now remember to do what? 2 series. Then you go to regional settings. Come to region. So we are seeing under general settings, regional settings. There's nothing much here. I think it's just the rate. Quantity decimal places, we already chose 2 earlier. Value decimal places, we already chose 2 earlier. Symbol is Naira. If you think it's not Naira, you can choose your own symbol. Okay, like you can change this to dollar or what have you. Now, there is no multi-currency on this default software, but if you actually needed multi-currency, this would mean that if you are also transacting with other currencies, foreign currencies, you can set up your currency and then put your rates every day before you run any transaction. Okay, but for this one, it's defaulted to Naira, so that's why you see N here. Okay. Date format. How do you want your date to look like? Is it day, month, year, month, day, month, day, years. By convention, it's day, month, year. So there's nothing much to do here. Go to customer and supplier settings. So look at what it's saying. One, when duplicate customer reference used on customer invoice. So you know, when you're creating your invoice, we'll do that next week. You can have customer references. Now, the customer reference I use for Lagbaja, do you want to see it? Can I use it for Temedo? I'm sorry I'm using those scenarios, but if you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say because the reference you use for customer A, do you want to use the same reference for customer B? Right? If you want to use the same reference, you can uncheck this checkbox. But if you want every reference to be unique per customer, then you check on this checkbox. Okay. Now you see when you say one, when duplicate supplier invoice number used on supplier invoices. Now this is a good thing. Remember what I explained to you about supplier invoices as to how they should not be serialized, right? So, and because of that, it can happen that two suppliers can actually give you the same supplier number. It could be rare, actually, but it can happen that two suppliers can give you the same invoice number. So when that happens, it's actually said, do you want to warn? Should it warn you if the same supplier number that came from supplier A, the same supplier number that supplier B is given to you? So yes, please let this warn you. Display inactive customers for selection when processing. So you can try to put some customers in inactive. That's maybe if you have considered that maybe it's been long they bought from you or something, right? So you can make them inactive, all right? Now, when you make them inactive, at the point when you want to raise an invoice or do any transaction with the customer, do you want inactive customers to also show when you want to pick that customer? That's what this guy is asking you. So if you want inactive customers to also show, uncheck, but if you want them to not show when you want to select a customer, then click on this check. Now let me rush. You can always come back and check these things. Display inactive supplier, the same thing as customer. So check if you want it, check it. Don't check if you want it, don't want it. Display inactive customer for selection on report. So when you want to pull reports, you want to see the records of inactive customers. Check if you wanna, uncheck if you don't wanna. Then same thing for suppliers. Use inclusive processing in customer and supplier documents. So for VAT's sake, do you want to use inclusive VAT or do you want to use exclusive VAT? For clarity purpose, I think you should always use exclusive. So your amount is different from the VAT element. And then at the end of the day, to do the net value of that transaction for you, of your amount for you. Okay. So use inclusive processing on customer and supplier. So you want to check that. Use accounts as default document line type selection. I'm not sure if you understand this. So on the banking level, I think I will explain it. Please just leave this out. I will explain this when we get to banking transactions. I'm not sure you'll be able to understand it now. Please leave it out. So let's go to item settings. It says one item quantity fall below 0. Please check this. If you don't want to be selling on negative value, let it warn you when your item is going to. Oh no, I think it's fine. I think you don't allow item quantity fall below 0, else you will just be selling what you don't have, and it's not nice. It should make your work nasty. It should make your software nasty. You'll be seeing when you are doing your inventory valuation, you'll be seeing negative inventory. It doesn't make sense. So let it not allow you when you are raising invoices and all. Let it not allow you to pick an item that doesn't have stock. I mean, that doesn't have quantity in stock. Okay. One when item is 0 cost. This is not so much important, so you can leave it. There are some items that you must have created that's without cost. But if you want it, you can click on it. Items should actually have cost because of your cost of sales element on your income statement. Okay. Then one item selling price below cost. I think this is very nice. When you want to sell, right, and the amount you bought the item is now higher than the amount you are selling the item, you are running at a loss. Okay, so the system is asking you to say, do you want it to warn you that what you are selling is now at a loss or is not at a loss? Okay, so you consider that. Display, just like for the customer and supplier, display inactive items for selections on documents. Let it not display inactive items. So remove it. It should not display inactive items. Display inactive for selection on report. It can display inactive items for selection on report. There might be value in them, but you just made them inactive for one reason or the other. Sales order reverse item quantity. Do you want it to when it's revising? Let me say that again. Sales order reserve item quantity. So when a customer comes to you to say, look, I want to buy XYZ, right? But has not confirmed to you. You know, when the customer has not confirmed to you that he's buying something, you don't have to raise an invoice. You probably raise a quote or you raise an order. Okay. Now, the system is asking you to say, when you raise that sales order, do you want it to take that item and keep that, okay, you have raised a sales order for this particular customer, although you have not confirmed, you have not converted it to invoice, but you want to keep that item for that customer. So that's when you want to raise another transaction, you say, don't forget that you have already told this customer A that you have this item available. If you take it and give it to another person, there will be no item for customer A anymore, something like that, right? So you consider what you want to choose there. Display inactive item bundles for selection, don't display. Okay. Now you can create your item price list. You can create as many item price lists as possible. You know what item price list does? Because you can have different categories of customers. You can have corporate customers, individual customers, and what have you, guys. So you can have different price lists for those customers. So if I have a corporate customer, there's every tendency that I might be selling to them on credit. And if I'm selling them on credit, I should get more from them than the working customers. So maybe on every Brazilian air that I sell for 150 to an individual customer, I want to sell it for 160 to a corporate customer, because when they collect it from me, they don't pay immediately, and that's an element of risk. Okay, so you can create different, like here now I can say this is corporate. Corporate, I can say this is individual price list. Whichever nomenclature you want to give to it, just give it. You'll be seeing, we'll be creating the, when we are creating an item, I'll show you how to input the price list per this, how to input the prices per each of these price lists that we have created. But for now, we are just creating the price list. When we get to that level, we will cross it. Okay, so when that's done, I think we are seeing under general assessment. Somebody saying long, it's waiting so far. Okay, outstanding balances. The system will ask you to say, how do you want the system to be reporting outstanding balances? Do you want to be reporting it per month, or you want to specify your own date? So you will say per month. Okay, and then your aging analysis report should be due date. There's a lot I'm not explaining because I assume that you understand what I mean. For instance, aging analysis means for account receivables. Aging would mean, so when you sell to a customer, right? When you sell to a customer, by expectation, by convention, the next time that customer should pay should be another 1 month, or the due date should be another 1 month. But you can also have conversation with the customer to agree on the due date. Yeah. But when you now want to check your customer per how long they are owing you, okay, you would see that it should begin to calculate per month. The first 30 days, the first 60 days, first 90 days, and then first 120 days. So that's how aging works. But this is doing it per month as well. Okay. There's nothing much here, so let's move on. Personal information. I think we've done this earlier. Okay, and we've also done our VAT settings earlier, so I'm not sure there's something much we want to do here. Okay, how do you want to set your VAT? Do you want it to be invoice-based, payment-based, or do you want it to be no VAT at all? It's actually invoice-based, not payment-based. Okay, what's your standard rate? So because we chose Nigeria when we were trying to create our accounts, the same automatically gave us 7.5, but you can create other rates once you do. So I can create 5%. I can create with withholding tax 10%. Okay. I create withholding tax 10%. So you can create as many taxes as possible. At the point of creating invoices, you see those tax elements, and now you can choose them. That will be next week now. Okay. Documents and statements. I'm going to just rush through this. You can review it later. So now, when you send a statement when you send an invoice to your customer, now one thing I should mention to you that happens is that Sage reminds your customers too when they have not paid. Okay, so you see here, say when you print statements, each statement shows the customer's outstanding balances. You can also include a message on the statement depending on the customer overdue status. So like this one, you say, thank you for your purchase. Please indicate payment. Indicate payment when it is done. Something like that. For when it is now 30 days, you can say, thank you for your purchase. Please be reminded that your payment has been due for 30 days. Then the same thing for 60 days. Just change this to 60 days. And then for 90 days. Okay. So when you print your statement, it will carry this information, and then it will automatically send it to your supplier's email. I mean your customer's email if you want it to happen. Okay, so let's go back to that. Document numbering. So how do you want your document numbering to look like? For quotations, it is QU 00001. You can edit it. You can change it to whatever you want. Okay, for sales order, it is SO 0001. You can change it if you wanna. For invoices, it's IMV 0001. You can change it if you want to. For credit notes, it's a CRN 001. You can change it if you want to. For customer receipts, it is RCP 001. You can change it if you want to. I will explain where all these things are when we start running our transactions. Okay. So for document description, for quotation, it's quotation. You can start to change it if you want to change it. If you don't want it to be called quotation, you want it to be called proforma invoice, you can change it to proforma invoice. Sales order, if you want to change the name, you can change it. For tax invoice, if you want to change it from tax invoice to just invoice, just maybe customer invoice. Copy customer invoice instead of copy. Hey, my battery is low. Instead of copy. Oh, sorry, I didn't put that copy here. Yep. Then, so you can decide to change your document names as you want to. Customer document message. Okay, so you see the messages there. The account number we inputted earlier for comments. So you see that they are here already. On your quote, your account number is there. On your sales order, your account number is there. On your customer invoice, your account number is there. Of course, it should not be on your credit note because you are reversing an invoice. It should not be on your receipt because I mean they've already paid. It should not be on write-off. So that's okay. For supplier, I'm not sure you need to input anything there. So we've done this earlier, invoice and statement layouts. We've done this earlier where we chose plain, standard, or what have you. Okay. Branding, we've done branding earlier where we chose the logo. So maybe I chose Sage as my logo. Okay. Then user defined field. I apologize that I might not be able to explain what this means. This is complex. But just so I brush on it, it is when you want to. So sometimes your company name might be so complex that Sage or that accounting software you're using is not providing for all the details that you need. For that for some of your transactions. So it will not. So you have to create what we call user-defined field. Okay, to help you to input the additional information. But sorry, we're not able to take that here. And that's an advanced stuff. So email signature, see how beautiful this thing is. You can add your email signature, on the system, and then you can create, let's just assume I want to add one. So when someone sends you something and they say, best regards, Hansen Nanakunde, Sage, something consultant, blah 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 blah. No, so you can set this up. That's up here automatically. So what's the name? The name of my personal. Let me just personal. Can create it for whatever, maybe for your tax invoice, and then what's the subject? Tax invoice or customer invoice, something like that. So I mean, you can. Okay, let me just create one. Customer invoice. Customer. So the body will be. Thank you, dear customer. Thank you for purchasing products. Please find attached invoice as requested. Something like this. And then you say best regards. Hansen Olakunle, Sage, stuff like that. So yeah, then you can also put the invoice number of that, or the customer. I think you should use the company name, the customer name, right? So great. Okay, so this is it. Oh, good. I just recalled where I said dear customer. You don't have to put dear customer. Do dear. Then on this insert placeholder, choose customer name. So you automatically pick the name of that customer. Okay, when you do that, you can then put your own company name down here. Company name. And you can say this invoice was created by the person that logged in. The person that's actually creating this cost, so that's user. Okay. Now you can also indicate the total amount on that invoice. So I can say your total I will show you how these things work out when we start getting transaction. Amount is this, then put the total amount. Invoice total amount. Due date. Don't put due date. Due date will be just say payment due date. So this is my default email that will be sent to my customer every time I raise a tax invoice. Okay, and I want to make it the default. So every time I raise a tax invoice, this is the same that goes to the customer. However, I can copy it and use it for other transactions. So I've done this one. No, sorry. The one I did was tax invoice. So you see the name of the stuff is now personal. So you can review it. But you can see a typical example for, let's say, a quote. I think there is a default one there. So I say, dear customer name, please find attached your quotation for this is their total amount. Please contact me. Should you have any queries regards the username, the company? Smooth, stuff like that. Okay, so this is where to do your signature, your email signature. Okay, then multi-currency. As I told you, we don't have multi-currency on the system at the moment, so we might not be able to touch on multi-currency. So yeah, we've come to the end of setting up. That's what today was supposed to be for. However, I just want to also quickly show you one or two things also on the company settings. Not necessarily company settings, but other company. So if you come to, wait, have I saved? Okay, yeah, I've saved. So if you come to company, click on open and manage company. So as an accountant, maybe you become a consultant later, or maybe an auditor or an account consultant. You might, like for me, in my real life account, I have a couple of my clients on the software, on my own software, so much that I can always log into their account anytime, check what they are doing, and then move on. But the other thing you can also see here is why you were the one that created this account. So the email you used to create this account, right, is the owner of this account. You can transfer ownership by coming here. You see transfer ownership here. Okay, you can manage modules. Managing modules that show you all your list of modules that you have purchased, and then you can upgrade the modules as here. So you don't have, like, say for instance, the additional modules that are available is time tracking, advanced inventory, but we don't need them. So we don't need them for this training, so we are not going to do that. You also see time tracking here. Okay, I've shown advanced inventory. Then you also have multi-currency and debtor management, but we are not using them right now. What I'm trying to say earlier is that you can have as many companies as possible here. I'm having Olakunle and Co here, but I can decide to add an additional company. So you see here where I can add an additional company, but it won't allow me because I don't have what's it called now? I don't have the license to add additional company. Okay, but you can try on your own if it allows you. That's cool. That's that. One last thing I want to show you. So you can click on change companies. No, this company says I want to show you. No. Please come back to company. I think you should find. Okay, I think it's the administrative role. So you can manage users. Yes, that's what I wanted to do. You can manage users. Now, while you were the only one, when you were creating this account, it's only you that the system recognizes. However, by default, the system can create 2 accounts per what's it called now? Per software. But because it's a trial version, you only have 1 account. But you can create, if you click on one, click on add, issue. Let's make that attempt. If it's a trial version, you still allow you to create two. So let's say I want to create. Who is the second person now? I want to create my wife as the second person. So I do. And then email address is at gmail.com. Okay, so she's a regular user. I can also include her phone number. I don't know this, but then yeah, I think that's it. Then I come to click on save. Okay. Now you can also create an accountant as so yeah, it has recorded. So I think I was correct. You can have two users on the system. So this has been has sent a request to Ajibola to confirm. So you see the status here. The status here is showing pending. That she has to confirm. I sent an email to her to confirm that she is willing to connect with me. That's why I mentioned to you earlier that you can collaborate. You can be using you can be working on two different modules. However, you are working together on the same system. So you can send a request to an additional user to log in, but after now you won't be able to do that again because you have just two licenses available. But you can also create an accountant. The accountant you have limited access to. What the account you have access to will be your general ledger, journal entries, and reports, right? Okay, that's it. Then you can also manage your user goals. What does that mean? Now, I will emphasize that you can be working, you can have someone connected on the system and show we are doing two different things entirely. That means that I can see that this Ajibola that I've created now, I want to give her few modules that she has to have access. I don't want her to have access to everything. One of the major places I don't want her to have access to will be my company settings. I don't want her to change company settings because it's a critical place for anybody to stumble on. So I don't want her to change company settings. I don't want her to change administrative settings. Okay. I don't want her to check my account and also look at my report. What I want her to do is only to raise customer transactions. Okay, I don't want her to check my financial dashboard. I'll show you where the financial dashboard is next week. I don't want to see my financial report, so I'll take it off from her completely. I don't want her to see my income and statement expenses, my item. I don't want her to see my dashboard. Let her not even see my dashboard. I want her to see my workspace. There's workspace here, right? So I think I can just take off everything, all the dashboard, but I don't have to see reports basically. So that's how you can streamline what you want a user to see. However, that user can connect and be working on our own what's it called now, interface seamlessly as you're also working on your own interface. That's how seamless the collaboration thing can be. Okay. Okay, so that's that for what I show you now. Control user access. That's about controlling user access. Okay, and you can of course delete a user at any point in time you want to delete the user, but you cannot delete yourself. You cannot delete the person that created this account. You can only do transfer of ownership, like I showed you earlier. How you can do transfer of ownership. Okay. Yeah, so that's about it, and we are in the next 2 minutes I will round up. Trust me, in the next 2 minutes I will round up. So I've shown you that. The last thing I want to show you is I just want to take you through all the modules on the interface. So when you log in, let me quickly mention to you, every time you log into your system, the last place you were when you logged out will be where it will take you back to. The last page where when you log out. Let's try that out. So I want to log out now. And then I want to log in again. Oh, okay. I think this has changed though. So it's taking you to workspace. So it's taking you to workspace. So it means that every time you log out, it will take you to workspace, and you will have to say, where did I find this? It is under home, my workspace. Sorry, my child is crying. Okay, so it will take you to my workspace, all right? And here's the workspace. In here, you can be able to create codes, create invoices, create customer receipts, credit notes, supplier invoice, supplier payments, import bank statements, record expenses, view bank transactions. I'll show you all the transactions as we continue. Send customer statements, profit and loss reports, balance sheet reports, which is now called financial statements. Prepare your VAT returns and change company settings. Okay. We will look into all of this as we move on. So the dashboard is here. This is where you find your dashboard. This is my workspace. I will just see. You can see customer dashboard, shows you everything about your customer. You can see supplier dashboard, shows you everything about your supplier. As I've said, we would continue. We would always come back to these places where we begin to raise transactions. Then financial dashboard will also show you your finances, your income versus expenses. You see your profit and loss and also. So that's what all the dashboard is meant for. Quick view, you see your customer quick view, supplier quick view,